Has Solana hit its bottom, or do we have one more leg to the downside? Either way, next week I'm looking to buy Solana, and I'm going to show you why from a technical perspective. So if you like today's video, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Let's dive into Solana, starting with the macro picture. So with Solana, we're looking at a daily chart since January 2021, which is in the far bottom left over here, all the way to now. Now, what's clear is markets moving fives and threes, and you must by now know that it's driven by fear and greed. When people have a reason to buy, and normally it's speculation to make money, price drives up, and then there's a whole sell-off as well. And news is baked in to this as well. So what we're going to look at is really paying attention that this bull run, right, it was just amazing. And it's probably going to occur again in the coming months. So 2023 is likely we're going to see some really bullish behavior with Solana and the whole crypto market, because the technology is sound. It's just right now there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So there'll probably be a bit more of a sell-off, but we're going to look really deeply into this part of the market because that's where we make money. What do I mean by that? Well, we had this correction, and we were anticipating that this low will get taken out. So we're going to zoom in to this part over here, and we're going to do some detailed analysis really on crowd psychology and how we can use elite wave patterns, something called Fibonacci price, and a few others. By the way, if you want access to the analysis, you can now download the chart. I've also got my 4 Secrets masterclass, which covers the details of what we're doing. And this is the way to access my courses. And right now we do have a Black Friday, Cyber Monday offer on 50% off. It's ridiculous. You know, use the code. Make sure you use the code BF2022 and you'll get access to everything. Lifetime access. You're talking about my Elite Wave course, Fibonacci price. We're talking about Fibonacci time, entry to exit strategies, trading futures, my trade plan, lifetime access, one-time payment, and you get everything. And it will upskill yourself to a whole new level. That's in the description link below. So now let's zoom in. Right, I want to really zoom in to this part of the market. This is important, really, really important. There's a couple of things we want to focus on. So the real question is, has Solana hit its bottom and this is the end of a correction and we're going to see a whole new trend to the upside? Or are we going to just get some type of move up and then one more leg to the downside? Now, right now, we won't know, but we're going to look at probabilities, how we can stack the odds in our favor and make money in both circumstances. So it's almost like we don't need to know, but what's highly probable. So let me just get rid of this line as well, so it's clearer for us to see this part of the market. I'm going to get rid of this as well, and we will keep this ratio. It's just, this is the typical maximum correction, and we'll see that, you know, Solana is at this point right now. So the thing I want to really focus on and get you thinking about, really thinking about with all markets, all time frames, is crowd psychology. If you can get it into your mind that it's humans participating, buying and selling, looking to make money, fear and greed drives behavior, and then the news can influence that behavior or stimulate that behavior. So when we're looking at price action, it's not just technicals. This is literally people buying. There's a demand, sell-off, and when there's overlapping waves like this is referred to as a correction. And when you get a correction, normally the trend previous to the correction continues. In other words, this low we expect to get taken out. We said this months ago, right? If you saw the YouTube content from months ago, from prior to August, we were waiting for this to happen. And then it did happen. I know there was a whole FTX situation and that was a massive sell-off. There was a lot of fear in the market and that drove the price even further down. But that was due, right? And sometimes there's going to be a news event, but you don't know what the news event is, and it will stimulate what the technicals are showing. So what I really want to focus on is now from this point here, if this is a wave 4, then we're onto a wave 5. And a wave 5 tends to be a final part of a correction. And a wave 5 in itself breaks down into 5 waves. So when I'm looking at this, I'm asking myself the question, does this over here, does this look like a 5-wave structure, yes or no? Well, my answer is actually no, because we got this initial move down. That was like a wave 1 of a wave 5. Then we've got this sideways movement. This is typical of a correction, right? It's a complex correction. It was drawn out quite long. It was quite, it took quite a long time. And that looked more like a wave 2. And then we had this steep movement to the downside. That looks like a wave 3. So it's probable that this is not the end of the correction, and we're probably going to get one more move up and then one more move down, which is a 4 and a 5. That's typical buying and selling behavior, right? We want to be aware of that. However, the markets are the markets. The price is going to do whatever the price is going to do. So there are some price ratios and momentum suggestions that this still could be the bottom. And this is the whole paradox of trading. It's like you have to be comfortable knowing that you don't know, and we just have to go, what are the odds? If you have a coin in your hand and I tossed it and I said heads or tails, what's the odds of you getting it right? Well, it's 50-50. But if the bet was, if you get it right, you get a 10x. And if you get it wrong, you lose your bet, right? In other words, if you had a £1,000 and we said, right, bet 100, if you get it right, well, you win 1,000. And if you get it wrong, you lose 100. Well, I'll take that bet all day long because I'll just keep going heads and keep playing that bet, because when I win, even if it's 3 out of 10 times or 4 out of 10 times, well, the 10x is going to outweigh the losses. And that's how you want to view this as well. So what I'm looking at is, okay, I want to now zoom in to this part of the market, right? I want to really look at this in a bit of detail. We've got this big move to the downside. It looks like possibly a 5-wave structure over here on this part, but this looks like a wave 3 and not the end of a correction. But this move here, I want to do a bit of detailed analysis on, because it can give us some clues if you can understand the wave structure. Remember I said this looked corrective. This was like sideways overlapping waves. Well, that tells me that's a correction. That's really, really important. Whereas this move down here, up here, this is impulsive. Like it's really moving down aggressively. This is massively impulsive, typical of a wave 3. So what should we anticipate? Well, we should anticipate a wave 4, but we can't make some money with wave 4s because it's on an intermediate time frame. What does that mean? Well, let's do a bit of detail here. And by the way, I've got the 4 Secrets Masterclass. I'm telling you, this will take you to the next level of making money because you'll be able to read crowd psychology in a practical, mechanical way without falling for the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, the fear of missing out, all of that. We can just get very, very practical. And we've got this amazing Black Friday offer run. It's ridiculous. We thought, let's do something special. It's Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I don't even know why it's called Cyber Monday, but it's there, right? So my team said, okay, let's do something, and it's 50% off. So I'm going to go into an hourly chart, right? I'm going to really focus on this part of the market now, right? Because this is where we make money, right? This is where we make money is now, right? Whatever's happened in the past, right? But what we can do is we can almost ignore everything and let's just focus on this part of the market down, and then let's focus on this part of the market up. What does this look like? And what are we likely to get as a minimum? Let's prepare for that because, we could potentially just make some money just even in this zone over here. And if it ends up being the low, which is not likely, but if it ends up being the low, then we make a lot more money. But if it doesn't end up being the low, we just make money on this part of the market, and then it's nice and healthy for us as well. So let's now drop down to an hourly chart. I'm going to do it. I'll keep it on. Let me pop out of this chart. And then when you download the charts, by the way, you'll get the 4-screen setup and you can actually upload it into your own trading view. So that's free. It's in the link below. So I'm going to go into the bottom right-hand corner where I keep my hourly chart. And we're just going to bring up the price over here. And what I want to focus on is, what does this movement to the upside look like to you? And the question, I want you to phrase the question to yourself, is does it look impulsive or corrective? Let's think about this now. This, because you want to apply this to all markets. Okay, this movement here, well, that's a correction, the overlapping waves, and then the prior trend continues, right? This over here on a micro scale is a correction, prior trend continues, right? So we want to be aware of that. So overall, hopefully you've seen the same thing as me. This looks like an impulsive structure, And even if we look at it, we don't know if this is the top of this impulsive structure, but it might be. It looks like a potential wave 1, a wave 2, potential wave 3, 4, 5 of a micro scale. So even if this is a wave 4 structure of a correction, we can still make money because there's enough movement here. There's enough movement here to make some really good money. So I'm going to tell you what I'm looking for. Or because you can do a couple of strategies here, right? I'm going to look to long it short term. And in terms of buying, long means just buying, making money on the way up. And then if we do get a wave 4 and everything lines up, then I'm looking to short it thereafter. Because you can make money on the macro, but we can really zoom in and go, right, there's 1 to 5 days of movement that we can really leverage. And, so if you're a long-term hodler of Solana, you can just prepare for what's likely to occur. But if you're a trader using stop losses, then we can really leverage these trends in a really powerful mechanical manner. By the way, I've got something new coming next week. We got our dashboard, which is going to help identify the trend. I might show you later on, because this is one of the reasons I'm looking at Solana like this. But let's just focus on the pattern position. That's one of the 4 secrets. That's really, really powerful, really important. So we don't know if this is the top. And we're talking about really intricate data here. We're talking about from the 22nd of November, which is only a couple of days, right? This looks like an initial move up, a move down, pretty impulsive move up, ABC down 4, and then a final, and it looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 5. Right? Hopefully you can see that. And you want to get familiar with this, because you're going to see this for years to come. This has been baked into human nature for centuries, like buying and selling behavior. It's crowd psychology. It's all speculation. If you look at the utility of Solana versus how much people are buying Solana, it's speculation, right? Most of it's speculation in terms of people betting on the price moving up and moving down. So when I look at this, in fact, let me actually get rid of the lines. I want to just break down 2 degrees of wave counts. So you got waves within the waves, and you want to be aware of this. So if we just go here, this looks like a nice A, B, C correction. Right, I'm just going to make this really clear, because you want to get, again, really familiar with these wave counts. Let me just change the color as well so you can see it clearly. It looks like an ABC of a wave 4. Looks like a wave 4 to me. And then I just want to ask you the question, right? Remember what we said on the way down? There was a 5. We're on a looks like a 5th wave, and I said we should look for 5 waves, but we don't seem to have a full 5-wave structure. We have a 3 wave, like a 1, 2, 3, and it looks like we're on this 4th. But a 4 tends to move into something called an A, B, C correction, and this looks like potentially the initial wave A to the upside. We'll probably get a wave B, and then we can actually trade long the wave C. That's what I'm looking at, because there's another thing here called the principle of overbalance of price. I'm going to talk about that. Remind me, right? Remind me. I made a mental note. But what I want to just show you here, because this fascinates me, this is crowd psychology playing out. Do you see any particular pattern on this part of this wave 5? So this is a wave 4, a wave 5. But if we zoom in on just this part here, do you see any kind of pattern? And does it look impulsive or corrective? Well, if you look at it, it looks like an initial move up, correction, an impulsive move up, correction, an impulsive move up. Well, that in itself is a 5-wave structure. It's undeniable. Look at this. It's a nice wave 1, wave 2, very bullish wave 3, 4, 5. It's a smaller degree count, so I'm just going to put it as a micro. And we'll, again, change the color to red so it matches up with the ABC. We know it's that same degree of wave count. Why is this useful for us? Well, it allows us to peg the top high probability end of wave 5. That doesn't mean it is the end of wave 5 at the top. So hence I would put a nice big juicy question mark that just reminds me that it has not been confirmed yet, because we're stacking the odds. We're playing the game of probabilities here. And that's why if you ever heard me say the term, probabilities never certainties, it's because all successful traders know that there's no guarantee of knowing what's going to happen. We can only stack the odds. So we're going to do some Fibonacci analysis as well. But before I do, let's do the overbalance of price. I just want to thin this out a little bit there. Okay, what I mean by overbalance of price. So I just want to zoom back out for a second and just look at this last move to the downside. All right, so let's just focus on even let's go from here, I think. Yeah, I want to go from this point here. I might need to zoom it in like this. I really want to focus on this part of the market here. And you'll see what I mean. You'll see what I mean in just a second. All right, so we've got this move up the last couple of days, right? Last couple of days. But since this date over here, we've had this move down. It looked like a 1, 2, 3, 4 final part of a wave 5. We actually made money on this way down, right? We didn't know if it was going to go lower, so we took some profits over here and then it reversed. But we've got something called an overbalance of price. And this is important, because if you can see this can really stack the odds in your favor. So what do I mean by overbalance of price? Well, if we ask ourselves the question, what has been the biggest move to the upside in this trend, this downward trend? So we go, okay, all right, Jagir, this was a move to the upside over here, right? We got this move to the upside. We go, great. We got this move to the upside. We go, okay, great. And that shows us the degree of the strength of buying power. The question is this move here bigger? In other words, has there been an overbalance? The balance is tipped in the favor of it's gone bigger than any former move to the upside in this former sequence. Well, the answer is yes, because we can just measure it, right? We can just get an arrow and go, right, let's draw it from here to here. This is give or take the rough movement. And let's just compare it. Where we go, well, this red arrow is bigger than that one. And we go, this is also bigger as well. So therefore, this would indicate some type of reversal, right? Whether it's the absolute bottom, when we looked at the macro, it probably isn't. But that doesn't matter right now. Right now, we've got that overbalance of price. What typically happens after a 5-wave move to the upside? Typically some type of correction, ABC, and then we can look to buy for maybe 3 to 5 day trend, 3 to 5 day trend, but you can make like 10, 15%, maybe 7%, maybe much more, depending on how tight your entry is on the next part of the movement. So that's what we're going to focus on. So that's the overbalance of price. So I'm not looking to short this because we don't want to necessarily short a short-term correction. If it was a bigger, well, I guess we're long in a medium-term correction, which is that wave 4 on the upside. And by the way, I know I'm talking to you as if you understand Elliott waves, but the 4 secrets and the courses, this is what we're really talking about. This Elliott wave course, which is £98 for all my 5 courses. It's ridiculous. It's like £20 a course practically. It's it's worth like over £5,000. So do take advantage of this with the Black Friday offer. But Elliott waves is how to read crowd psychology, and that's what we're doing over here. We're getting really into the intricacies of this, which will just take you to a whole new level. So you can do it on an intricate level. You can do it on a macro level. It's the same thing, right? So let me just. I'm gonna wrap this up. I just want to kind of get to the punchline, right? What I anticipate happening, and if it occurs, is we've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What typically occurs is some type of ABC correction. If we get this looks like a 1 or A. I call it a 1 or A. We don't know which one. We're leaning on it being an A because it looks like it's going to be a wave 4 structure. This will be a 2 or B. Again, we don't need to know 2s and Bs. They look the same from a buying and selling perspective. And then we should get some type of move to the upside. And that's what I'm talking about, buying Solana for this particular move. Now, if this ends up being the bottom, well, then we'll just compound if the trend takes off. But we want to be on high alert that we're probably going to top out. And we'll talk about that as well before we get one more move to the downside. Because more often than not, you'll see these 5s and 3s. So let's just, for the fun of it, do an end of wave 5 projection. End of wave 5. What you want to know is that these ratios have particular relationships, or these waves have particular relationships to one another. So we're going to do, let's just do the basics. The real basics is the end of wave 5. So we're going to measure wave 1 to 3, project it from 4. There's particular ratios that this would normally be. And then we're going to measure this 1 to 3, project it from here. That will help us see if there's a cluster. We'll just do it that. There's some other ones as well, but that'll be more than enough for the purpose of this particular video. So let's just do this low to high and then project it from here. And the typical is 38, 62, and 100%. So let's just get the 62. We can see it's in that range. And then we'll do the exact same thing, but with this smaller degree wave count. And we'll do it from this low here. I'm going to go here and here. And we'll take it from this low here. And we can see it's tagged the 62% over here. So these are very significant ratios, by the way. This is really strong indications that we're likely to see the market turn around. Let's just quickly look at what's the momentum doing. I just want to look at the momentum. So we can see on the top right-hand corner is my daily chart. I know I'm getting a bit detailed here, but this is how we trade, right? We want to stack the odds in our favor. And once you know this stuff, what I'm doing here actually takes like 30 seconds. It actually takes 30 seconds. To explain it, like I'm explaining it, that takes 10, 20 minutes. But what I'm looking at is to say, all right, the next few days, we're probably going to see the momentum turn around to the downside. We go, great. And then that will probably coincide with the correction. So that all stacks up because we want to use the 4 secrets. So we've got Fibonacci price, we've got pattern, and now we've got momentum. And there's one other, which we don't need to go into today, but that gives us enough confidence to say this is likely at or near a top. Now, we might get one more move to the upside. We don't need to concern ourselves. So what I'm going to then wait for is a correction. So if we get, let's just say we get a movement to the downside, and this top here is the top, and we get a movement to the downside, I'm going to wait for some type of A, B, C correction. This is on the intermediate wave count. Again, I'm going to keep this in blue, this one in blue, because it's the same as the wave count on the way up. Right, some type of thing like this. But again, it might not be the top. It might go a little higher. Again, we'll just wait. You know, what will be a confirmation for us? Well, even if it just takes out this swing low over here. So if the price goes below this swing low, that would be the first indication. This one over here, if I can get this here. If the price goes below here, especially if it's a 5-wave structure to the way down, this will give us a confidence that this top is going to hold. But I'm going to wait for an ABC structure. You know, so around, well, we haven't done price projections, but around here. And then I'm looking for long-in opportunities, buying opportunities with Solana. So that was detailed. So has Solana hit the bottom? Well, short term, I think so. But we want to be on high alert. In fact, I just want to finish on one absolute last thing. Let me do it like this. I'll do it on this time frame. I just want to, I don't know if I'll be able to get enough data on this. This is on the hourly chart. I just want to give a bit of macro context on this, because when we zoom out, you kind of get just a different perspective on things. So I just want to show you this, what's likely to occur, right? Not definite, but likely. Okay, I know there's a lot going on the chart, so let me just clear that up so we can just see what I'm talking about here. What this looks like, and you know, it's quite intricate what we're talking about here, but potentially what we've got going on, again, this might be valid, it might not be valid, but let me just draw it like this so you can see it. Is we've got this, what looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a sideways drawn out wave 5 potential. Because of this overbalance of price and we're taking out some swing highs, is likely we're going to see at least an A, B, C structure. And we can do some Fibonacci ratios from here to here. The typical is a 38.2% retracement. So if this takes off, we want to be aware of these kind of ratios, because there only might be some short-term buying. And if the momentum is in the favor on the downside, then it might continue to one more move to the downside. And then this may be the absolute low. But again, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself because, it's still early days, but that's what I'm looking at. And it could change depending on what the market does. So download the chart. It's free. You'll get everything. And if you want my courses for just the most ridiculous offer that we're doing today, is Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And it's basically what you'll see in the 4 secrets, which is the free masterclass. This is the gateway into my community, my Telegram community, my weekend workshops, and everything else. All right, so like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Let's finish on a quote of the day from my book. Let's go with chapter 1. It's Michael Jordan, one of my favorite quotes. I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. So failure is just a part of success. And that's the same as trading. Look, we're going to identify a trend. We're going to take the trade. We're going to risk 2%. If we're right, we make great profits. If we're wrong, we make a small profit. We break even or we take a loss. And then we just repeat the process consistently. And we don't judge our last trade result. And we just look at the current one and we go, right, it's a nice long opportunity. We take the shot. The next shot, we take the shot. It's heads or tails. Even if you lose the coin toss, that's independent from the next coin toss. The next coin toss is still 50-50. The next coin toss is still 50-50. But remember, when you win, you get a 3, 4, 5 times multiple on your risk reward. When you're wrong, you lose your bet, your 1x, whatever that is, 2%. It should be what it is. And if you're right, then you get a 3x, 4x, 5x, and so on and so forth. So that's just the name of the game. The trend is your friend. Ride it until its end, until it reaches its bend. And that is what we want to be doing. So Solana, what do you think? Has it bottomed out, or do we have one more leg to the downside? Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll see you soon.